This is a question for Mayor Mendez. So I'm asking this question on behalf of some residents and community organizers in Brownsville who could not be here this morning. I know you've already spoken a little bit about SpaceX, but right now SpaceX is destroying a federal wildlife refuge, destroying sacred sites of the Carrizo Comecrudo tribe of Texas, and like we talked about, spurring gentrification in the Rio Grande Valley. They want to know, what will you do to address these disastrous impacts that SpaceX is having on the community?
I think, and I get this question on Facebook probably many times a day, but the reality, and thank you for that question, because it is a concern. And I think whenever you see things like what's happening down there, there's some concerns about what is happening to the native species, what is happening with wildlife. I know that is not a tremendous solution, but it's something that I need to at least have those conversations with SpaceX about. And I have had those conversations. I have those conversations pretty regularly. But the reality about that is that the solutions have to come and the regulations have to come from the federal government through FAA. So we know that they're going through that process. FAA has looked at it. So, I mean, I'm just relying on the FAA to try and mitigate any sort of effects that may occur. And it's up to them to do whatever they feel is the right thing to do. And I'll support whatever the FAA does. So thank you.
Service Academy Day, SpaceX set to launch in November, BISD board screwing the community yet again, and the sheriff and county judge duking it out. It is Wednesday, September 28th, 7:18 a.m. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. And now, back by popular demand, our award-winning segment, and now the weather. I woke up today at 5 in the morning to take a little cruise, and to my surprise, it was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It was in the mid to late 60s. We are going to be expecting a cold front this coming Tuesday. So get ready to bust out the San Marcos. Get ready to bust out your sweaters and jackets. It seems as if South Texas is going to get a cold front this upcoming week. Currently, right now, the city of Brownsville is looking at 89 degrees. South Padre Island, the Cabrera boys, Jason is looking at 84 degrees in South Padre Island. Harlingen is looking at 89 degrees. Throughout the week, it is going to be in the low 60s. If you're an early bird, and if you are watching this segment, as I see quite a bit of people on here, there will be a cold front coming in, and yes, bust out those Letterman jackets. They will be coming. They will be coming in handy. Now, the biggest honor that one can do is serve their country. We are proud here at Good Morning Brownsville to be advocates for our veterans. But most importantly, we do have a great responsibility to our youth. We have individuals who right after high school have that passion for patriotism. I want to announce that for those interested in joining the armed services, whether that be the Navy, the Marines, the National Guard. There will be an opportunity to have your questions answered on this upcoming Saturday, October the 1st, at Hanna High School. Congresswoman Mayra Flores invites all high school and middle school students to take part in this opportunity to speak with the Service Academy representatives. Many questions, there might be many questions in which our youth have. There are many opportunities for our youth to take part in this great initiative. And again, what greater way for one to demonstrate patriotism by enlisting in the armed services. If you or your loved one have any questions or concerns regarding the opportunities available, my Congresswoman Mayra Flores invites the community out this Saturday, and that time is at 2 p.m. This Saturday, October the 1st at 2 p.m. At Hanna High School. For those interested in talking to a recruiter, talking about the different opportunities that each branch will have for your loved ones is a great way for them to ask those important questions. Now, here locally, we have been dealing with what has been going on with SpaceX. As we all know, Bobby Musk has made South Texas, Boca Chica, his own personal home at Starbase. They did announce that there will be having launches starting in November, orbital launches. Now, Boca Chica to Mars, that has been the promise in which many of us have hoped for. Everyone has said, "Oh, this is our saving grace." By SpaceX coming into one of the poorest areas in the nation, in the United States, it is going to lead for businesses to come, set up shop, spend money, and make the economy boom. Now, while we are in support of SpaceX and this space exploration, we also want to present to the community the ramifications that SpaceX has brought upon. We started off this show with Mayor Mendez pretty much not answering the reporter's question. The question was, well, what do you have to say about SpaceX causing the effects that it have to its wildlife and its species? What do you have to say? And he pretty much said a bunch of mumbo jumbo. He didn't say much. All he said was, well, it's the federal government's job to tackle that. While we agree to that, he did not sound convincing when he said, well, I need to talk to SpaceX. Hasn't he seen what has happened these past couple of months? It has only been, there has been 3 explosions in the past year or so, which has caused many of the local residents to question, this is just a test. This is just a few Raptor engines that are on. Imagine whenever these rockets are at full capacity. Now, we understand that these types of launches, of these testing, it's a trial and error, of course. Did SpaceX learn from their mistakes? Again, this past fire, we saw how 68 acres of land was burnt. Many people have questioned and said, Frankie, burning and starting new again is good for the land. But again, are we affecting our wildlife? Are we affecting our species here locally? You and I can agree, but it seems as if the community here has already said, you know what? We'll give up our beach, the most prized possession that we have here in our own backyard, for the sake of Elon Musk. It is a promise that he has provided us. He has been given hundreds, if not millions of dollars in tax breaks in one of the poorest areas in the nation. SpaceX is set to launch in November. We will be seeing a large increase of these mishaps, and we'll be having these explosions on a more common, more frequently. Only time will tell. Now, you and I can agree. Everyone is feeling the pinch, and this is something that we have been talking about, day in and day out, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And people have said, Frankie, I'm tired of it. Why do you keep being redundant? Why do you keep repeating yourself? Well, these are concerns in which our community asks us, Frankie, what's going to happen? And mainly for those individuals that live on a fixed income, it is sad to see that no elected official throughout the city, throughout the different boards, whether that be at TSC, BISD, City of Brownsville, Cameron County, and the Port of Brownsville, no one has been vocal. And we have stated time and time again, why do individuals run for public office? Do they run because they really want to make sure that Brownsville is thriving, that the opportunities are there for the community, or are they there for their self-interest? Individuals who are elected take an oath to serve their constituents to the best of their ability, but it seems as if now BISD is jumping on that bandwagon and screwing over the community once again. Just yesterday, it was made official. BISD will be increasing the tax rate. Now, what has to give? And one would argue, is this mismanagement? BISD is one of the biggest employers south of San Antonio. The budget is $500 million with a B. They're at $550 million. You would think with that amount of money, they would be able to put money away in the coffers, to be fiscally responsible with taxpayers' money in order to avoid increasing taxes. How do you feel of your taxes being increased? We have PUB rates going up through the roof. Rent is extremely high. Apartment complexes are now at the $1,000, $1,200 mark range. And it doesn't seem to stop there. PUB, we can spend a whole show on PUB, and we are starting to see the disconnection notices. And now BISD is jumping on the bandwagon to increase your taxes. Recently, there was a 5-2 vote to increase the taxes. Daniela Lopez Valdez, Denise Garza, Prissy Roca-Tipton, Eddie Garcia, and Drew Brown, they all voted to increase your taxes. And one thing that we can all agree is that these individuals are either out of touch with reality of what you and I, common folks, are going through, or, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is something that they just don't care. For far too long, individuals on the BISD board have used their position to enrich themselves, their families, and their friends. It seems as if doing it for the kids is not what is meant. Now, throughout Sylvia Atkinson's federal trial, we learned of instances in which board members benefited and assisted Sylvia Atkinson, and Sylvia Atkinson was found guilty of stealing money, $10,000 that were given to her by an undercover agent. And the Brownsville Times, and we do encourage our friends at the Brownsville Times, if you don't follow them on Facebook, make sure you do. We encourage our friends at Brownsville Times to continue producing content. I know it's difficult, coming on the show Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I find myself sometimes don't have enough time for life. And while producing content, providing the community with information is taxing, we encourage our friends at Brownsville Times to keep on producing content. We love their work. We're big fans of their work, and they provide a great service, just as the likes of Erasmo Castro and others. They use their platform to provide information to the community. But throughout Sylvia Atkinson's federal trial, we heard how members within that school board were using their position and were a part of a bribery scheme. Throughout the transcripts, we learned that the candidate for BISD Place 1, Philip Cowan, was also a part of this. During Atkinson's talk with undercover FBI agents, she mentioned how the $10,000 would be used, stating that allegedly $2,000 was going to be given to current BISD trustee Philip Cowan and Minerva Peña to buy their vote. Now, you and I can agree that we deserve individuals on that school board that are going to be fighting for the people, that is going to be our champion. How do you feel about the current administration? Do they have anything to hang their hat on? You and I can agree. Teacher morale is shot. Teachers are storming out of the profession. They're tired of it. Just recently, they announced a salary step increase, which we all know right before election time, they use it as a ploy. You want money? You want a raise? Vote for me. The community is not dumb. I hope that we will actively take part in the electoral process to elect individuals that will fight for us, that will be our champion. Are you satisfied with this current administration, this current board raising your taxes? And I want you to remember those 5 individuals: Eddie Garcia, Priscilla Roca Tipton, Denise Garza, Daniela Lopez Valdez, and Drew Brown. And one particular position in which Good Morning Brownsville will be fighting for in this upcoming race will be in BISD place 1 position. We saw how the transcript showed how Philip Cowan accepted $2,000 to vote how Sylvia Atkinson wanted him to vote. Also, we have the other candidate in place 1, Drew Brown, who her son and husband benefited from her position. And she, being a school board member, did not see it as being a conflict of interest. Can we allow these individuals to continue screwing over the community? Are you okay with individuals using this position, your position, our position on that school board for their own benefit? According to the transcript of that trial, Philip Cowan accepted $2,000 in exchange for his vote to vote with Sylvia Atkinson. Drew Brown in place 1, her husband and son benefited from it, from her being on the board. And while they have been at this for 10 years, for a school board member to not see and realize the conflict of interest that it has, that is very, very alarming. And let us not forget the relationship that Sylvia Atkinson had with Drew Brown. Drew Brown has not come on the record and distanced herself from Sylvia Atkinson. She has not gone on the record and say, you know what? I do not condone that. I do not agree with Sylvia Atkinson. Are you okay with giving the incumbents 4 more years? Aren't you sick and tired of elected officials abusing our position? I ran for BISD because I see Brownsville as that city on the hill. And these individuals, instead of lifting, empowering Brownsville citizens, focusing on the needs and wants of our community, all they do there is steal, is take, and see how they themselves and their family are going to benefit from it. Aren't you tired of individuals that will use your position, our position, for their own benefit? I encourage my family and friends to take part in this electoral process. Come November, we need to send a strong message that we're tired. We're tired of the city, we're tired of the county, and now we are tired of BISD. Just recently, they announced that they will be increasing the increasing the taxes for their constituents. Are you in agreement? Drew Brown voted yes to increase your taxes. How will you vote come November? The decision is yours. Now, a lot has been going on throughout the rumblings, throughout the courthouse, and now it is a public affair. What we have seen as of late has been a standoff. Who blinks first, the county commissioner's court or the sheriff, Eric Garza? And what has been interesting to note throughout this whole ordeal is that no one is willing to admit that they're willing to work with one another. It seems as if this county commission is hell-bound on defunding the police. And one thing that you and I can agree on is that not having the resources, the manpower, could bring about anarchy. We have seen and monitored the situation in Minnesota with the whole George Floyd incident. If we go back to the times of Rodney King, we have heard of individuals that have stated, F the police, defund the police. What would happen if and we are seeing it live and well here in the city of Brownsville, in Cameron County, what would happen if this continues? Well, just recently, there have been a back and forth between these two departments, and the whole issue is that the Cameron County Commissioners Court, they froze over 70 jobs at the sheriff's department. Now, Cameron County judge did go on the record. He had a press conference yesterday, and all he did was attack Eric Garza. He blamed Eric Garza for him not being able to perform his duties. Again, there was a freeze, ladies and gentlemen. They froze 70 positions. And I want you guys to close your eyes and imagine who's housed at the Cameron County jails. Is it choir boys? Is it altar boys? Is individuals that are there for simply being beautiful? We have hardcore, hard-nosed criminals, ladies and gentlemen. Murder, aggravated assaults, robbery. The jailers there, they don't have enough manpower. Employees are forced to work overtime. And what happens if you and I can't stand an 8-to-5 job at a cushy in the AC on the desk pushing paper? Just imagine the jailers, what they have to go through. They're spit on. Feces is thrown at them. They're being attacked verbally, physically. It is not an easy job, ladies and gentlemen. And all we heard from our county judge was, it's the sheriff's fault. It's the sheriff's fault. Well, is it really? Is it really the sheriff's fault? Who is the one that came into this position? Eric Garza has going on 2 years, 2 years that he took helm. And what we have seen from the previous administration has been this compadrismo, this relationship between the Cameron County Commissioners Court and the sheriff. Sheriff Lucio did serve the county for 20 years. And throughout those 20 years, what we have seen has been that the Cameron County Commissioners Court, they have not assisted our men and women in uniform. Defund the police is something that will bring about anarchy, that will bring about chaos. What about our law enforcement officials in uniform? Aren't we putting them in harm's way? Aren't we throwing them the middle finger by saying, hey, figure it out? Cameron County, ladies and gentlemen, Cameron County is a monster. Just imagine how many units it takes to patrol the county. One thing that bothers me is that the county fails to realize that their mismanagement has brought upon where we are today because of them. And let's not forget, the county is at a deficit of $5 to $6 million, according to Eddie Lucio. I'm sorry. According to Judge Eddie Trevino, it is because of the sheriff. But the sheriff just has 2 years on the job. How can it be his fault? Now, we do understand that they did lose $2 million due to federal inmates, which they are already in compliance and are in the process of getting that money back. But what about the mismanagement in previous years when Sheriff Eric Garza was not at the helm? And as we all know, whenever we get money, we're so quick to blow it. The mismanagement that we have seen from Cameron County is alarming. They are the reasons why we find ourselves in this hole. But one thing that a viewer stated was a lot of back and forth. But what I find the most comical about Judge Eddie Trevino is that he claims that he's being physically responsible. But let us not forget that he was shoving the arena down our throats twice, saying we can afford it. And who can forget? And why would you think that these individuals are so adamant, not once, but twice, trying to say this is beneficial for the county? This is something that everyone is going to benefit from. Over $100 million project, ladies and gentlemen, was put on the table for the voters, and the voters, not once, but twice, rejected it. Imagine if it would have passed, ladies and gentlemen, if right now the county finds itself in $5 to $6 million. what would that balloon to? What would that deficit balloon to? I would say 20. I would say 50, because their saving grace would have been, we're in the deficit because of the arena. But give it time, guys. This is a 20, 30-year project. We don't expect for us to benefit right away. The Cameron County Commissioners Court and their mismanagement have led us to where we are today. Now, I don't want to alarm anybody, and many individuals, they do misconstrue the purpose of Good Morning Brownsville. Here, the main focus has always been to provide our community with information, black and white. We are not here to convert nobody. We are here to present the information, and we want you, the viewer, to decipher and make the decision on how you stand. Now, one thing that has been brought to our attention is, safety. One thing that will impact Cameron County. Morning, my man. Have a good day, my man. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Hope to see you soon, man. It's been a while. One thing that you and I can agree, that the most important thing for us is safety. Who can forget? We have already had 2 gun-related incidents here at BISD alone. The first day of school, remember, at Porter? Pop, 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 pop. Everybody's like, oh my God, we just started. And we're starting off with a bang. At, is it Benavides? There was a couple that were arguing. A man had a handgun. He was arrested. He was ultimately released. But one thing that you and I can agree is that safety is very important for us here locally. And let us not forget, ladies and gentlemen, where we live. We live in a concrete jungle, which is the city of Brownsville. Let us not forget what we have to deal with and what we see in our everyday lives. We see kidnappings. We know where all the trap spots are at, where all the puntos are at. And this is part of our everyday lives. The cartel is alive and well here in the city of Brownsville. And one thing that our Cameron County Commissioners Court is failing to realize is that the safety of you and I, of your loved ones, of your kids, is at stake by not providing the Sheriff's Department with the proper resources, tools, manpower needed to patrol and to keep us here in the community. Keep us here in the community safe. Thanks, Woody. You too, my man. Kidnappings here in the city of Brownsville. A father and son were found tied and executed in Brownsville in a public park. Go figure. In Cameron Park, where the Sheriff's Department actively patrols. It is a concrete jungle, ladies and gentlemen. Just this past 6 months, there have been numerous shootings. I get text messages from my friends and say, hey, hubo otra, carnal, otro tirotazo. Let's not forget that an individual was found killed. His truck was riddled with bullets. Now, again, this is in the city of Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen. This is in Matamoros, by the Cameron County Commissioners Court not providing our Sheriff's Department with the resources, with the tools, and by blaming the finger is wrong. They are at the helm. They dictate and pass legislation, and they should provide our Sheriff's Department with the tools needed. Congresswoman Mayra Flores stated on the record with a press release, we need to stop. This is something that never works. The safety, ladies and gentlemen, the safety of our loved ones is at stake. How do you feel for our Commissioners Court to mismanage the budget, $5 to $6 million? They try to shove an arena down your throat, not once, but twice. ¿No quieres? Toma. Not once, ladies and gentlemen, but twice. $100 million project was going to be shoved down your throats. Are you okay with how the county is going, the direction in which they're going? And now they are putting the safety and well-being of our loved ones at stake by not providing Eric Garza, the Cameron County Sheriff's Department, and staff with the manpower, with the tools needed to be able to perform their duties. These upcoming elections, ladies and gentlemen, is paramount. It is very important for us to take part in the electoral process. We are getting it. We are getting it from everywhere. And let us not forget that the county judges, thanks for reminding me, the county judge and the commissioner's court, they themselves gave themselves a raise during the pandemic. Now I ask you, did you get a raise during the pandemic? Nobody was hiring, ladies and gentlemen. The pandemic was a scary time economically. Pero que chulos. The commissioner's court gave themselves $12,000 raise. It is time for us to take part in the electoral process, ladies and gentlemen. At BISD, we have individuals who are raising our taxes. At the county, they are affecting the safety of you and your loved ones. Are you okay with this current administration? Are you willing to give them 4 more years to see how much more in the red, in the deficit they will bring us? How many lives will be lost by not giving the sheriff's department the proper tools and ammunition? I encourage you to take part in the electoral process. We need to elect individuals to Cameron County that will be champions of the people, that will provide the resources needed to make sure that when your loved ones go to school, that when your loved ones go out there, they're safe. We need to make sure that we get rid of the incumbents. I encourage my friends and family to take part in the electoral process. I want y'all to encourage people to go out and vote, because now, ladies and gentlemen, it is dealing with the livelihood of you and your loved ones. What do you have to say to the commissioner's court? Are you satisfied with their mismanagement of the budget? Are you satisfied with them putting you and your loved ones at risk by not providing the safety and well-being and providing these men and women who risk their lives every day with the proper resources and tools? And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. SpaceX is set to launch in November. We have seen this past year how we've had 2 explosions already. It is important for us to be more vocal. It seems as if the citizens of Brownsville are more focused on the economic opportunity that SpaceX could bring, while it affects our wildlife. Service Day Academy is set for this Saturday. Congresswoman Mayra Flores invites the community, high school and middle school students. If they have any questions, there will be representatives from the different armed services to answer any doubts that one may have. A very important part is providing our youth with the proper information needed for them to make that important decision. And what a better way to give back, to serve the community and show patriotism by enlisting in the armed services. BISD board screwing the community yet again. Eddie Garcia, Priscilla Roca-Tipton, Denise Garza, Daniel Lopez Valdez, and Drew Brown voted to increase your taxes. Don't they see what we're dealing with? Todos nos están jodiendo. BISD, Cameron County is at a deficit. PUB is through the roof. Rent is unaffordable. And now BISD. Are you okay, ladies and gentlemen? Are you okay with them doing that to us? It seems as if we need to send a message at BISD, Carlos Elizondo for place 1, and the sheriff duking it out with our Cameron County judge. What the Cameron County Commissioner's Court failed to realize is because of their mismanagement, we are in the situation that we find ourselves today. They are putting the safety and well-being of you and your loved ones at stake. Are you okay with them doing this? Their personal battles, because they are not able to put their egos aside, has led to where we are today. The most important thing is in life, if you have loved ones, is the safety and their well-being. Are you okay with this mismanagement that has led to the sheriff's department not having the manpower, not having the units out there to patrol, because they just don't have time? It is Wednesday, September 28th, 7:49 a.m. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Hope to see you here on Friday. God bless.